giving us everything they can, and all week with the mindset and the mentality. I thought we came out doing what we needed to do, to be honest with you. I thought we had to weather a storm and make sure that first quarter we were in a good position. And I just, because of last year, because of some of those things that can creep into your head mentally about what has happened in the past, I thought it was really important for us to come out and play well, especially in the first quarter. And, I thought we did. We go in at halftime and, really kind of stress to them and say, hey, get this thing to the fourth quarter and give ourselves a chance. We're in a good position. We get the ball. We've done a few things, but we haven't done enough. But we got to make this thing a war. We got to get it to the fourth quarter, and then we got to see what we're made of. And so I give those guys credit and proud of them for following a plan and doing that and getting it to the fourth quarter. And then fourth quarter comes and we can't execute. We can't make the plays we need to make, the stops we need to stop. And that's what it comes down to. And so it's kind of gut-wrenching for those guys and for all of us, just because of, all you put into it and what you build it up to be, and even after last week. But this is a tough one. We're going to have to put this thing behind us fast and be able to move forward, because I reminded those guys we got one guaranteed month left to us. We got 4 guaranteed games left to us, and we have got to find a way to put this behind us and move forward.
Luke, you can kind of tell the emotions here. Like, is a loss like this where it's so close and you guys are maybe a play or two away tougher than a more of a lopsided one, in your opinion?
I think that, in a lot of ways you got them to believe in the things that we needed to do, and even at halftime to get them to believe in hey, get this thing to the fourth quarter. That's where we've got to be at our best, and that's what we trained for. And and I give them the credit. They did it. They got us to the fourth quarter, and then we couldn't get it done. We let them down a little bit, and maybe some situations I need to be more aggressive, and then some other situations we need to take advantage of some opportunities that we have just based on what kind of game it's going to be and what we're going to have to do to win the game. And so maybe I start to look at myself to say, some of these decisions that maybe could have or should have gone the other direction.
Luke, in a game like this, special teams and field position can be critical. I'm not trying to pin this on Atticus, but those 2 punts, does he have to do a better job to not give a short field to Ohio State?
Well, we got to do a better job too. Even the stop there in the second half defensively that we got, they still moved the ball and were able to put it in a position where they downed it, I think, 2 or 3 times on the 6-yard line, and that, with the defense they got and where we were and everything, I just to put ourselves in that situation, that's tough. And then to not be able to, drive it out of there and find a way to, kind of flip the field on us. And I said it, the games that we've, won, we've dominated and really kind of won the special teams battle. And the games we haven't, it's been either equal or neutralized, or, even in some situations the field position battle has been won by them because of, the way they punted the football and the way we haven't.
Oh, okay. Coach, as far as can you give us an update on Braylon, and 2, did his injury affect maybe your thinking at the end of the first half in terms of maybe going for it on 4th down or no?
No, I don't have an update. And no, I didn't even know that, to be honest with you, whether he was, down for, a while, or would he be able to get back up and play the next play. No, we had kind of made the decision, or I had made the decision in my head that we needed to get points. I put us in a bad situation, didn't call the timeout, and then we ended up with a field goal we probably shouldn't, don't want to attempt at 54 yards, and so just the way and be able to move the ball, especially there at the end of the half, we had to get points, we had to get positive momentum going into the halftime, especially us getting the football. So no, it wouldn't have changed my mind, but I think those are the plays that, in order to beat a team like that, you got to capitalize on in those situations, and we just weren't able to do it.
Luke, what did you see in terms of growth from week 1 start from Braden and now second week starting? against a really good defense?
I think you got to go back and really watch. I mean, the things that I saw last week, I saw again, a poise and some things. But yeah, we'll have to go and see. I mean, we got to have guys step up, and when things happen, we keep trying to tell, we got to make everybody around us better. And if that means that, if Braylon's down, that means somebody else has got to step up. It's not just all on the falls on the shoulders of the quarterback, And so I think he had to manage a lot more things tonight with some injuries.
Luke, I imagine you don't believe in moral victories, but you lost Braylon, Chimray, haven't had Ches, Tanner's been out. Did the performance tonight at least show you something about this group?
And that's what's hard. I told him I'm proud of him in there. For trying to execute a plan, meaning that okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in this thing. We got to play really well in the first quarter. We got to get ourselves to halftime. Let's make sure we can manage what it is we're doing. Let's get this thing to the fourth quarter, and then then it doesn't happen, and so they look at you like hey, this was the plan, coach, and we got to find a way to execute. And so you put it on your shoulders a little bit, but there's no to say, hey, we did have some other guys that stepped up. We did have some situations. That's what I'm talking about with Braden. He had to manage some different situations, with the guys we had, and being a little bit more limited. But that's the name of the game, and that's the challenge I had, I think, to the guys last Sunday about as you get later in the season, you're going to have guys go down, and we're going to have some of these guys that have not played a big role play a much bigger role, and it just happened to come true tonight.
Luke, how much do game changers make a difference? I mean, you look at Henderson and Harrison are two really good ones that no matter what you do, sometimes they just make plays. You lose yours at halftime, basically. I mean, how much when you analyze games and teams, how much does that make a difference? Players
make plays. I mean, it's not hard to figure out sometimes. And it's just it's hard to stop. And they had two difference makers that everybody knows about, but they were difference makers again tonight. And so we got those are the things you got to find. And when somebody goes down like Braylon, then somebody else has to step up. And hoping that you have some of those playmakers, they just haven't had the opportunities just yet. But that's what we're going to have to find. We're going to have to find those guys that have the ability to step up when somebody else goes down, and when their number's called and they have the opportunity and the ball comes their way, can they make the plays?
Luke, when we talked to Tressel on Wednesday, he was asked about the run defense, and he said one big hit at Iowa, quarterback running a lot at Illinois, but we still need to get better. What's the biggest area of concern with your run defense so far this year?
I think it starts with leverage, and then I think it goes into tackling. And there's all different kinds. We saw early in the year, and a lot of space tackles that we were doing that we weren't very good at, and maybe a little bit more tonight with some physicality on the tackling. Actually the ones that hurt us, that's the big runs. I think we had some missed tackles or some bounce offs, and a couple of third downs where we they throw a check down and we've got exactly what we want, and they find a way to to get 7 when they need 7 or get 7 when they needed 6. But tonight was a tougher one to overload the box with what you had to try to deal with on the outsides as well. So it's a catch-22. But we know that that's where we've got to do a better job. But I know going into it that not giving up the big plays was critical. And if it was a methodical drive, I thought that, guys, this is something that we're going to have to live with in some ways and then be able to make some plays. Because we made enough minus yardage plays to put us in some really good situations. But in return, we gave up too many of those really big plays.
I said, Luke, with Chim, I know he was officially questionable to return to the game. Was there any point that you think that he could come back? Is there any update on him? And just how did you see the receivers kind of?
I don't know. I didn't get an update on him. I'd go check on that here. So I don't know. Those other guys had to step up, and I don't know exactly. I don't know if Quincy got a little bit more of a role. Obviously, Bryson probably. You saw him a little bit targeted a little bit more, which we need to do. So there's going to be other opportunities for other guys, and C.J. Williams is going to have to step up, and Quincy Burrows is going to have to step up, and Vinny Anthony's going to have to step up, and there's going to have to be a lot of other guys based on where we are.
Luke, last week we talked about the bend, don't break mentality for the defense. Even in a loss, what can you take away from your defense generating 3 turnovers against this offense?
They did some really good things. Had a lot of tackles for loss, some minus yardage plays. The big plays, are what we were, not say worried about, but what we had to limit in order to be successful on a night like tonight, especially with the playmakers that they have. So we just got to keep looking at what it is that we need to do. We're finding ways to create some negative yardage plays, but we're also, unfortunately, giving up some of the bigger plays. And, sometimes in the past it's one-on-ones, and I mean, there's, they're going to make some of those. The run ones, around the edge, especially the one that, kind of put us in a really bad situation when it's 17-10 is the ones, the kickers that hurt.
Coach, thank you.
Thanks.